Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode those confusing corporate filings to give you the juicy details without the jargon. Today we're diving into Senmiao Technology Limited's latest report, and let's just say it involves some interesting moves in the stock world. Before we get into the weeds, if you are all about getting clear, no-nonsense financial insights, make sure you are subscribed. And hey, we've got a growing community over on Discord discussing these very reports, so check the link in the description to join the conversation. So, what's the big story here? Senmiao Technology Limited, a company involved in technology, seems to have been busy selling some of its stock, and not just to anyone. Let's start with the basics of who we're looking at. Senmiao Technology Limited is the company we're focusing on today. They are incorporated in Nevada, and their file number with the Securities and Exchange Commission is 001-38426. Now, for the exciting part, the actual business happening, Senmiao's common stock is traded on the Nasdaq stock market, LLC, under the ticker symbol AIG. Alright, so on the 13th of November of 2025, the company struck a deal. They entered into what is called a securities purchase agreement. Think of it as a contract to buy or sell company shares. In this agreement, Senmiao agreed to sell 500,000 shares of its common stock. Each share has a very small nominal value, just a tiny fraction of a cent. But collectively, these shares represent a part of the company. And they offered these shares at a price of $1.32 per S-share. This is a specific offering, meaning it wasn't just a regular sale on the stock market. Now, here is a key detail. These shares were sold to specific investors who are not US residents. They are explicitly stating that they are not what is called a US person under the Securities Act's regulations. This often means these sales are happening outside of the usual US regulatory oversight. So, the total money raised from this sale before any costs are taken out comes to $660,000. That is the upfront amount from selling these 500,000 shares at $1.32 each. This deal officially wrapped up the very next day, the 14th of November 2025. Quick work. But that is not all the stock movement for that day. On the 14th of November, the company also issued another 200,000 shares. This time they were given to a consultant in exchange for their services. So in total, these shares were given out both through the purchase agreement and to this consultant. It is important to note that these shares, both the ones sold and the ones given to the consultant, were issued under what is called Regulation S. This means they are exempt from the usual registration requirements with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Again, this usually points to sales happening outside the United States. The details of that securities purchase agreement are important, and the company has filed it as an exhibit. It outlines all the terms and conditions of that deal. Now, looking at this, there are a few things that stand out. Senmiao Technology Limited is actively raising capital through these share sales. They are selling to non-US investors and also issuing shares for services, which is a common way to compensate consultants or advisors. The fact that these are exempt from registration under Regulation S suggests they are aiming for a more streamlined process to get these shares into the hands of investors or service providers. The total number of shares involved here, 700,000 in these specific transactions, isn't a massive amount for a publicly traded company, but it's a notable series of events. The selling price of $1.32 per S-share is a crucial data point. We'd need to look at the company's stock price history around November 2025 to see if this was at a premium discount or in line with the market. If they were selling at a significant discount to the market price, it might signal they were eager for cash or that early investors saw a lot of potential. Conversely, selling at a premium suggests strong demand, even with the Regulation S exemption. Now, what does this all mean for investors? For the non-US purchasers, they are getting a stake in Senmiao Technology. For the company, it means fresh capital and potentially new stakeholders. For existing shareholders, it means dilution, as more shares are now in circulation, which can potentially lower the earnings per share if profits don't increase proportionally. While this filing doesn't give us specific financial tables to pore over in detail, the action of selling shares is a story in itself. It is a way for companies to fund operations, expansion, or debt repayment. The key here is understanding why they are raising this money and where it is being used. Without knowing the company's immediate financial health or upcoming projects, it is hard to say if this is a brilliant strategic move or a sign of them needing cash. Looking at this from a broader perspective, Senmiao Technology is operating in the tech space. Companies in this sector often require significant investment to develop new products or services, so these capital raises are not uncommon. However, the reliance on Regulation S transactions does suggest a preference for international or less regulated markets. In conclusion, Senmiao Technology Limited has completed two significant stock transactions, selling shares to non-US investors and consultant. These moves are designed to bring in funds and reward services, operating under specific exemptions from US registration rules. The core takeaway is that the company is actively managing its equity structure to fuel its operations. Moving forward, investors should watch how this newly raised capital is deployed and whether it translates into improved business performance and profitability. Alright, that is our breakdown of Senmiao Technology Limited's filing. What is your take on these stock transactions and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives like this. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.